Hello, friends. Today we're reading a story from Heartwood Hotel, the first chapter of Family Forever by Kelly George, illustrated by Stephanie Grayjin. This is Mona. She's a mouse, and this is Heartwood Hotel, the heart that is on top of the door into the treehouse hotel in the woods. So let's read the first chapter, Heart to Heart. Okay? So, heart to heart. It was autumn, once again in the Fernwood forest, and no place was cozier than the Heartwood Hotel. The silver moon hung thin as a whisker above the old oak tree. Golden leaves decorated the hotel's branches, and the delicious aromas of roasted acorns drifted from within. The Acorn Festival had just finished, and the first since the fire that had swept through the forest 2 summers ago. For Mona the mouse, made at the hardwood, the last year had been difficult, a different time. In addition to helping animals who had needed a place to stay, and here is a beautiful picture. She pitched in, fixing rooms that had been damaged and replanting areas around the tree. She's been glad to lend a paw. She was only a small mouse, but she had one of the biggest hearts in the Fernwood forest. Now the forest was doing much better, and Mona was happy. Things were beginning to go back to the way they had been. So yes, just like we were saying, now the forest was doing much better and Mona was happy. Things were beginning to go back to the ways they had been. Still, a bit of her heart felt unsettled. Something was tugging at it, but she wasn't sure what. Maybe she could talk about it with Tilly. This is Tilly. With Tilly. Tilly the squirrel was also a maid at a hardwood and a Mona's best friend. The two of them were alone in the kitchen. As you can see, this is the kitchen. The light from their lanterns, this is a lantern flickered, warm and bright, like fireflies dancing in the darkness. Everyone else, guests and staff, had gone to bed. But Tilly had suggested that she and Mona might as well go through the lost and found while they still remembered who owned what and share the rest of the acorn croissants. Mona perched on a stool and picked at one. The croissants were nutty and buttery and light, shaped like perfect half moons. The new cook, Bergamot the toad, was an expert at making them. Let me see if I can find his picture. It's a toad who is a cook in the story, and he is a really wonderful cook, and he just cooked those croissants. So let me see if I can, and I think this is the hedgehog. And let me just show you the toad, the cook. I will try to find him. This is Badger, Mr. Heartwood. And let me see. You invited to a surprise birthday party invitation. These are some of the animals camping. I will not give away the whole story, but I want to show you how Mr. Prickles, no, Prickles is that's someone else. You'll learn about that. Prickles means being very prickly, like a porcupine. See, it's a porcupine. But this is the cook in the treehouse, Heartwood Hotel treehouse. So that's who made the croissants we are reading about. So the new cook, Bergamot. His name is Bergamot. That's Bergamot, okay? That's his name, Bergamot. You can put him in your drawing too if you like. He was an expert at making those croissants. Tilly ate 2 a day, yet Mona missed Miss Prickles' seed cakes. Miss Prickles was the porcupine, and she used to be Heartwood's cook, but she was gone now, traveling the forest with her new husband. And Maggie and Maurice the rabbits, who ran the laundry room, had left too, to help their families rebuild their burrows. So there's two bunnies, Maggie and Maurice, and they used to run the laundry room. The staff were her chosen family, and she missed the ones who had left. Missed them a lot. Mona sighed. Maybe that was why she felt funny. Too many things had changed. Something was up with Tilly as well. Usually good food and successful festival made her happy, yet the squirrel seemed grumpier than ever. Her red tail was so bristly. It nearly brushed the bundles of nuts and dried berries hanging from the ceiling. Humph, she said as she sorted through the basket of her belongings in front of her on the table. I don't understand why guests aren't more careful with their things, but it's always the same. This festival, how many times we have done it? It's only, started Mona. Too many times, that's what, said Tilly. She'd been at Heartwood much longer than Mona. It's just not giving me that thrill. It used to, but after all that's happened, and I just need something different, you know. Except Mona didn't know. She felt the opposite and was surprised Tilly was feeling that way. Mona thought the Blue Bow Warblers, the band that usually played at the festival, had done a particularly great job this year, and even if their new drummer was a bit exuberant, and it was fun putting up the decorations in the ballroom, the bright clusters of elderberries and the sunshiny yellow leaves in acorn vases. Tilly continued, I mean the food is good. She took the big bite of an acorn croissant, but it's always acorns. It is called, or it is Acorn Festival, said Mona. I know, said Tilly, except every year everyone spills their hot honey and it's a sticky mess, and that was true. Mona had scrubbed the honey from floors with her rag and nutshell of soapy water, and her paws felt sticky. Once you got honey somewhere, it got everywhere. And Miss Hutchinson always leaves behind her willow strap sandals after she is finished dancing. Tilly peered into the lost and found basket. See? She pulled out the rabbit's long green shoes. Mona took them and put a little label on them so they would be returned to their owner in the morning. I bet the next thing I pull out will be something else that always gets left behind, Tilly went on. When Tilly reached in, she pulled out a small postcard, and her grumpy expression changed to one of wonder. Mona could see the back of the card was blank. They wouldn't be able to find its owner. That's the postcard. She leaned closer to Tilly to see the front. The drawing was of an icy lake glimmering in the moonlight. It must be in the forest far away. Somebody probably visited this place and bought a postcard in that place to remember it. Tilly's eyes were bright. Now this postcard is new. I've never seen that lake before, have you? Isn't it amazing? Mona hesitated. I suppose. Tilly rolled her eyes. Oh, Mona, she said, giving her friend a playful nudge. You're as boring as a bush. Mona knew Tilly was teasing, but was she boring? No, truly she couldn't imagine anywhere nicer than the Heartwood. It was her home. She lost her family in the storm when she was very young and had lived in the woods all by herself until she found the Heartwood and her friends. She's had been quite enough She's had quite enough excitement in her life and appreciated the Heartwood routines that kept everything predictable and running smoothly. In fact, all of the upheavals of the past year had made Mona want routines even more. But now Mona knew Tilly didn't feel the same. Tilly had been surprisingly good at going with the flow. Tilly continued gazing at the postcard. Only, if only what? Mona whispered. Maybe now was the time to have their heart to heart. Maybe now Mona could tell Tilly how she'd been feeling, that she missed everyone so much and wished there was a way to bring them back. But there was no chance. All of a sudden, there was a knock and a creak and a thud upstairs. Tilly and Mona leaped to their paws. What was that? Said Tilly. I don't know, said Mona. It's very late. Everyone's asleep. Should we wake up? Should we wake Mr. Heartwood? It's probably nothing, replied Tilly. Maybe just a guest sleepwalking. But Mona wasn't so sure. She felt her fur tinkle. As the tinkle grew stronger, Mona grabbed her lantern. Come on, let's check it out. She rushed up to the stairs with Tilly following her. When they reached the lobby, they gasped. The front door was open and the moonlight streamed in. Someone had stumbled into Heartwood and lay sprawled on the floor. And that's the end of chapter 1.